Hey, everybody, welcome to Think Business Live. Looking forward to talking with Tasso Arima. Tasso, it's great to connect with you. You are a serial entrepreneur that by the age of 35 founded two $1 billion publicly traded companies. So I'm looking forward to diving in. You're currently serve as a CEO at IperionX, where you develop carbon sustainable critical minerals and metals. One of the things I love about my podcast is I get to, as a career, I'm a business coach, work with solopreneurs to fortune companies and everything in between. I work with successful people who are stuck and I get them unstuck. And I love having guests who can provide information that gets people unstuck. And so today we're going to talk about, I think, a topic that's pretty relevant to a lot of people. That's on a lot of people's mind. And you're focusing on zero carbon, sustainable, critical minerals and metals. So talk a little bit about what you do so the Think community can first kind of get a grasp of it. Then we'll kind of dive into, some more business stuff.
Yeah, great. And thanks, John, for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. I don't know if I'm the best person to provide advice on getting unstuck because I often get stuck myself, but I'm lucky. As you probably realize, I've got good people around me that get me unstuck all the time on a daily basis. But in short, I started off, as you can hear, I grew up in Australia. I'm Greek by background, but I started off in the minerals extraction industry and was heavily involved in the fossil fuel space. I was the founder of a coal company that we took to $1 billion, listed on both ASX and TSX, the Canadian and Australian exchanges. And then I moved to the US and stayed in essentially what I did in the coal industry is the same as what I'm doing here now. It's solving a supply chain. So whether it's a coal supply chain or a lithium supply chain, like I did when I built or helped to build and be the founder of Piedmont Lithium, reshoring the lithium supply chain in America for electric vehicles. All I'm doing is putting a team together and building assets that help to reshore supply chains in America. So with IperionX, we're very much focused on the titanium supply chain, which is critical for national security, but also for the future, like electric vehicles, lightweighting of anything, consumer electronic devices, those sort of things. We need these metals. We need them to be made in a more sustainable way, and we need some of those supply chains to be brought back home to America. So that's in short what we do.
Let's talk about that. There's been a lot of supply chain issues, obviously, over the last couple of years. I would say most all industries and people have been affected in one way or the other. And so what are you doing and or seeing, supply chain issues in your world? What are you seeing over the next 6 to 12 months?
Yeah, so for where I have always focused on is on the material supply chains, unlike, say, pharmaceutical or like what the CHIPS Act is aiming to reshore, which is semiconductors. I focus a bit more upstream on those raw material supply chains and always have. So these have, for the last few years, been in need of reshoring. And that's mainly here in the US. It's mainly got to do with our advanced industries. We're an advanced country where we're doing everything from space exploration to electric vehicles, and especially around the electric vehicles and renewable scene, there's a need to bring the critical materials or build those strong critical material supply chains that are not just strong supply chains, but also sustainable supply chains, because there's no reason to do these sustainable industries and use unsustainable materials to build them.
I love it. I want to dive a little bit into something you said earlier, which is, the people around you, right? Helping you get unstuck. I want to chat about that because, I here you are, by the age of 35, you founded $2 billion publicly traded companies. I've always also surrounded myself with people to help me get unstuck. I founded an internet company with my brother and a buddy at 23. We sold it. It went public after that.
Yep.
So, the importance of mentorship and the people around you, I think, are really, really critical. And so what does, surrounding yourself with people smarter than you and mentorship mean to you, and how has it helped you in your success?
Yeah, I would say it's critical. And I would say I'm lucky as well. Same as you, I was 23 when I founded my first company. And this was in the coal industry, which is a tough industry to find a company in. And without having a few key mentors there that helped to guide me, it would have been almost impossible. But I was very lucky to find them because I came from a, low to middle income sort of family out of Perth. So to have those mentors to introduce me to the right groups, show me how to develop a company, I wouldn't have been able to do it without them. And then all the way through my career, having people that are smarter than me in the different areas that we need to work in, operations, finance, legal, that's key. Otherwise, you're going to get stuck in every one of those.
Yeah.
And I think somebody like me just needs to know how to ask for help from the different people, and that's the most important part of this. Both the mentors, and there's also just people that are your colleagues that you need to that all help you get unstuck. The mentors sort of show you what you could be.
Yeah.
I think the colleagues and your close people, your people, help you to get unstuck on a daily basis.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. I see it all the time. Asking for help is so difficult for people. But I want to just kind of rewind a little bit about a couple of things that you said and dive into kind of the energy of what you're saying, because you can have all the right guides around you and all the right mentors, but you have to be able to surrender, trust that we're making an assumption that they're the right mentors, and then and which is another show, but let's yes. For the sake of this, and then surrender and to their advice and be open and be coachable and really actively listen and implement on it. And so can you talk a little bit about the mindset and where you need to put your ego so anybody who's listening can kind of really learn from the kind of the wholeness of what we're talking about right now?
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, you got to try and approach it where, and look, I struggle with it all the time, where you want to put your ego to the side, or you think you're doing something right. And there's nothing wrong about debating something with the people that you're working with, but then to also realize, to be open to those suggestions and try put the ego to the side, which is, harder said than done. And, I struggle with it all the time to go, no, actually we should do it that way. But what I think I do okay, I wouldn't say I do it well, is I'm able to reflect on it and go, you know what, actually, no, maybe they're right.
Yeah.
And I think you got to have that open mindset. You just can't go in. I wouldn't say you let go of your vision and let people tell you you're wrong and stuff like that. I would just say be open to going, am I doing it right?
Yeah.
Questioning, and then if you've really thought it through, continue on the path that you think you're on. Because sometimes you will be, especially as you're an entrepreneur, but definitely be open to anybody. My father used to always say that, just even listen to everybody, anyone, even the people on the street, like I'm just man on the street, and then you decide for yourself if it's advice you take.
Yeah. Yeah. My dad always used to say, you can always learn something from somebody younger and younger or older. Don't leave it out. But I agree with you. Then you have to really kind of like take it and make your own decisions. I think I love what you're talking about, because it's so critical for people to hear kind of over and over again. And one of the things I see that has helped me through my career and as a business coach is when I'm coaching people, it's about giving them formulas and models for them to think about that fit within their vision, to accelerate their vision, to get to their vision faster. I think that's something that I have found that I do for clients, but also that my coaches and mentors do for me, right? So you can almost take it off the shelf and then be able to dissect it internally to really ultimately make your own decision, to not, so when you have that vision in you, it's not being torn from you, but it's just accelerating, getting to it faster. So I love what you're talking about. All right, quick speed round. Book that's had the biggest impact on you, Tasso.
The what that's had the biggest impact? Sorry.
The book that's had the biggest impact on you.
Book that's had the biggest impact. I haven't read that many books. A lot of journal articles. I read the Bible.
That works. The Bible's a very popular book. When I ask people that question, you shared some of your dad said earlier, but another piece of wisdom that's kind of stuck with you through the years.
Buy low, sell high is one that's stuck
Yeah.
with me. Which when I first heard it, I was like, "Oh, you're
Yeah.
kidding me? That's not advice." And
Yeah.
I look back at it now today, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that makes total
Yeah.
sense."
That makes good sense.
It's
It's a good
hard,
one.
hard to
Yeah.
pick the buy low and hard to sort of stick to it, but
Right.
it's a good one. Yeah.
Hard to time the market. Finish this sentence. Last question. Finish this sentence. One thing every business owner or business person or anybody can do if they're stuck and feeling too vulnerable to ask for help can.
Oh, that's a tough one. Can ask for help.
Yeah. There we go. All right. Good.
I'm not good with these.
Right. It's all right. It's all right. You did great. Also, tell people who your ideal clients are and how they can connect with you.
So look, we as a supply chain company, we're talking to a lot of groups or customers that want to use sustainable materials or sustainable metal, in particular titanium, in a replacement for, say, your average steel or aluminum components. So anywhere from we're talking to large companies in the automotive space, and all the way down to if companies are building. I know there's companies doing a lot of work with 3D printing, building bikes and sporting goods and things like that. I think over the next few years, if people are wanting sustainable titanium, they should reach out to us. And as we scale up our business, we'll be happy to help not just the large OEMs like in the automotive space, but also the smaller groups who are looking to embrace additive manufacturing in their factories or in their workshops and build these bikes and whatever it is. And we'll be happy to help that ecosystem.
Awesome. Think community. Well, first of all, Tasso, thank you so much for being on the show. Think community. We started off talking about, kind of getting ourselves prepped on one thing that could get us unstuck. And there's many things that Tasso shared with us today, but I'm going to share one thing that resonated with me that I see as a big issue with people, and something that can get you very unstuck is getting to a place where you can ask for help. It really opens up a whole new world to grow your mindset, your business, and everything just much faster. And so thank you for being on the show. Think community, IperionX, IperionX.com. Tasso, thanks for being on the show. Any last thoughts?
I will just say, we're trying to build a better future, build a better world, and IperionX is going to be a big part of those supply chains you hear about it. And I heard Senator Warner speak yesterday. Very lucky to, great senator of Virginia, and although we hear things are all sometimes bad on the news, I would say that things are getting done. Yeah. And there's some great things that have been done this year, and don't give up. And on these supply chains and on making the world a better place, we can do it. So people should just be positive about that.
Awesome. Good. I love it. Think community. Thank you. IperionX.com. And, or if you need me, JonDwoskin.com. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you.